All right, hello, this is Jay. I'm here with Vet Spec with Regina. Rich and Kelly had a little family issue they had to deal with today, but I'm here with Anita Janda. She's the commander of American Legion Post 108 here in Cleveland, Minnesota, which is where we're coming
Center.
from you tonight. The center, I mean. Cleveland. I'm so used to saying where I'm from, so now you know. La Center, Minnesota. Anita is the commander of Post 108, former veteran, yes?
Yes.
So, what got you into the military?
Um, my mom. And April is, I think it's Women's Veterans Month. So I found this picture of her when she was in Hunter College. She went into the Navy, and this is her graduating group at Hunter College, and she was kind of a bold lady, and she went, but after she came home and told stories about all the fun stuff she did.
It's what we all do.
I know. So anyway, after I graduated from high school in 1970, a long, long time ago, um, I went to school Mankato, in Mankato. It was Mankato State College then,
Mm-hmm.
and eventually earned its university title much later. But I studied nutrition and dietetics, and it was only the second year of that program. And so once you finished with your degree, you had to do an internship or get a master's degree. So I decided I would check out the internships, and um, many of them were, within hospitals in the state of Minnesota, but there was an Army dietetic internship and an Air Force dietetic internship. So I thought, God, Mom had lots of fun in the military. So I applied for the Air Force dietetic internship, and there were only 10 slots. And we were competing against students all over the country. So I happened to get one of those slots. Well, then after I was accepted to the program, I had to go find a recruiter that could swear me in and do all the military part. So living in Mankato, there was a recruiter. He knew nothing about the program, nothing.
That's nice.
Yeah. So he had to do his research before he could then swear me in and get me on the road to where I needed to be. I graduated in March of 1974, and by July, I was on my way. I um, left home on July 4th,
Oh boy.
headed to Texas. Um,
The air base down in Texas. I think I know which one you're talking about. They
yeah,
still
I'm
have
trying to
basic
think.
training down there
I know,
for
I
the
know
Air
it so
Force.
well, and I can't think of it right now. Um, Shepherd Air Force Base.
Okay.
Shepherd Air Force Base, and we went in with the medical corps. So we got there and we met. There were doctors and nurses and dentists and physical therapists and all the people that were in the medical corps. And people ask me if I went to basic training. Well, if I'd have got accepted to the Army internship, I would have had to do basic training just like everybody else. But in the Air Force, we were at Shepherd Air Force Base for 8 days,
Oh boy.
and they called us 8 Day Wonders, and got teased about that a lot. And then we got our uniforms. We learned to march. We learned to um, tell people's ranks and grades and who you're supposed to salute and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then we got our officer club card, so we kind of spent a little bit of time at the officers club.
So you
So
were an officer when you got
I
there,
got
then?
a direct commission
Second
as,
lieutenant.
as second lieutenant. Yep. And so then I headed off to Andrews Air Force Base in Washington, D.C.
Home of Air Force One.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was pretty exciting. I mean, being from a small town, I had traveled, I had been to New York a couple times, but I had never, that's just for a visit. I
Yeah.
had never lived in a big city.
I'm
So,
sure it's a little different living there as opposed to just going and seeing the sights.
right. Well, and I had met the other intern. I had met 5 of the other interns at Shepherd, and so we kind of stayed together and traveled together and got there safely. And there was no on-base housing for single officers, so then we had to go hunting for apartments and did all and so my roommate was Susie McKinney, and she was from Virginia, and her dad was a colonel in the Air Force. And so she had a whole different experience than I did with the military. So she knew a lot about what to do and where to go, and so that helped us. And so then I think we were there like a day or two, and then we had to go meet our commander, and she was Lieutenant Colonel Philomena Manor was her name. And oh no, she was a full colonel. She was a full colonel. She was the head of the program at the hospital there, and she looked us over. I mean, it was kind of strange when we got into her office. She just kind of like oh, looked us over, and she said to me, "You have an overbite," because my teeth were kind of not straight. And anyway, so she says, "We'll take care of that."
All right.
So
some of the perks.
Yeah, it was, and so that was where and she was very strict about a lot of things. But she had been obviously at that point had been in the military for a very long time, and kind of came up the hard way. So she wanted to make sure that her lieutenants were going to do things the right way.
Makes sense.
And she gave us, we had a fantastic education with the people that were our instructors there. And then she made sure that we saw any kind of food service that existed. I mean, we went to Annapolis, we went to the Kennedy Center, we went to St. Elizabeth's Hospital. Have you heard of that? I mean, St. Elizabeth's was built during the Civil War.
Oh, wow.
It was a psychiatric hospital.
Mm.
And they still made bread in these brick ovens. So, but we got a lot of practical experience touring and seeing how different food services operated.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd have a well-rounded idea of what the possibilities were out there. And then we had a lot of nutrition education, a lot of food service education. We worked with the meat cutter and a lot of different experiences that I've talked with other dietitians that they never
had the chance to get.
Yeah, we got to know the NCOs and the people that headed up different departments, and yeah, it was 9 months of whirlwind experience. So it was really good.
So that's where you did all your training, was there at
That's where I did.
Andrews.
Yeah, and then once we were in our job site at our base, then we would go periodically back to Shepherd Air Force Base for updates and other training. So at the end of our internship, Colonel picked out bases for each of us to go to for a week to work with another dietitian that was already in the field. So I lucked out, and I got to go to Nellis in Las Vegas. And Susie went to Bergstrom, and we flew on a hop, and at C-130, I think.
C-130,
Yeah.
Propeller.
Yep. And Susie got off in Texas at Bergstrom, and I went on to Las Vegas. And so that was a really fun week experience. And Nellis at that time was a 35-bed hospital. Um, and the lady that was the dietitian there just showed me a lot of interesting things and shared a lot with me about the real world,
Yeah.
what's going to be really like. And we learned that most food services at that time, probably it might not be true anymore because I don't know about that, but um, most food services were connected to the morgue because
Oh.
all the refrigeration was built together. So
Yeah.
it was just a convenient way to do things. So that was pretty interesting. And so then my assignment was to Seymour Johnson Air Force Base in Goldsboro, North Carolina.
Okay.
And again, that was a 35-bed hospital. Um, and I was, and I look back and my title was like Chief of Medical Food Service. I was 23 years old and I was chief of medical food service, which made sound really important, but it was I was both the clinical dietitian and the food service
Oh.
manager
Okay.
of that department. And I think I had like 10 NCOs that worked for me in different aspects. Like I had a storeroom guy, and I had um, a master sergeant that was in charge of some of the dietary stuff. And so it was very interesting, and we always had fun. And one of the things, I mean, there were some real. I was laying in bed this morning thinking about some of the things that we did. Well, when we first got there, I learned that there had been a shooting at the emergency room a couple months earlier before we got there. Person, um, some airman was not happy with the treatment that their family member got.
Oh my.
So he went and shot up the ER, and it was like, oh, well, so that made it kind of real, you know.
What did I get myself into?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, but it didn't take any time at all where I got to know everybody, the supply people. Well, the hospital commander was Dr. Anderson. I got to know the nurses. Um, so, in addition to the hospital being there, there were clinics that were connected to the hospital. So, there were OBGYN clinics, maternity clinics, different, clinics for different practices, just like only on a really small basis.
Right.
So yeah, I learned a lot. One day, I was sitting. It was lunchtime, and I was sitting at the table. When people would come in for lunch, they just give us your name, and you just check them off. And this lady walked in, and she goes, "Yanda," and I looked at her, and I said, everybody mispronounced my name all the time. It was Janda. They would just say Janda. And I go, how do you know my name? And here she was originally from Czechoslovakia,
Oh my.
and she had a music teacher whose last name was Yanda. And so we became good friends. She was a major, had been in nursing for obviously quite a while, but I mean, I was like shocked that somebody could pronounce my name. And but my NCOs and airmen that I had were really, really, really good guys. And we had one female, um, Becky. Her name was Becky, I think. And but they worked well together. But I had to learn a lot about different Southern food,
Oh
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and so that was fun. That was always fun. I had to learn about the ration. So I don't know who determined the ration, but the amount of money you got to spend on your budget was determined by the ration. And sometimes the ration was high, and sometimes the ration was low. So you would try to budget it to, keep it balanced out. But um, 2 Christmases that I was there, the ration was high. So we spent the money.
Yeah.
And the supply guy, he was really good. He knew how to do all that. So since so many of us didn't get to go home, we made it fun and we made it the best Christmases ever for the docs and their families, and they had children.
Mm-hmm.
And so we made, I think those 2 years we had lobster and steak for Christmas dinner in the dining hall. And so, of course, people came from other parts of the base to come over and eat with us.
Oh yeah.
So it was, and I had one of our Sergeant Rayner was kind of a chubby guy, so we found him a Santa Claus suit, and we had a Christmas tree, and we just made it a really fun Christmas for everybody. So, and the docs and their wives really appreciated that. So did the other staff, but they did particularly because some of their family wasn't really happy about having to be stuck in North Carolina on
Yeah.
Christmas.
Not much snow there.
No, we never had snow.
So where's that located in North Carolina?
It's in the Piedmont, so it's not on the coast and it's not in the mountains. It's kind of
In
in
the middle.
between, kind of in between where the tobacco grew.
Okay. So how long did you serve in the Air Force?
Well, 3 years total.
Just
I
3
did
years.
my commitment.
Okay.
I look back and I think, like everybody does, should I stay or should I go? I had 3 friends, no, 2 friends that stayed in and went on and got their master's degree and their PhDs and did their 20 years. And then one of my other friends, who I still stay in touch with, Steve Mandero, he got out after his 3 years and he went to medical school
Oh.
at UNLV in Las Vegas. So there were a lot of opportunities for anybody that, we got a great education.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I did get out, it was easy to find a job. But I was thinking about that today too. What would I have done different? I would have moved closer to the cities and got a job at the VA.
Oh.
I
Yeah.
would have, I could have done that and then retired from that. Because boy, I didn't really know how fast that 20 years would go.
Yeah. You never do until it's over.
Oh my gosh, it did. You look back and it's like, wow, I could have stayed in and done 20 years.
Yeah.
And so, but you never know. You deal the hand or you play the hand that you're dealt,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the way it is. But it was great. I had a lot of good experience, which was able to apply to other jobs, like bidding, um, letting bids on volumes of food, or like I worked for 10 years for Green Giant after I got out, and I would order paper products, for example, for the whole season. It was a seasonal job.
Yep.
But I'd order paper products for the whole season and saved a lot of money by doing that bidding, as long as I had places to store things. So it taught me a lot about managing people.
Yeah.
About
that's always a big thing in the military.
Scheduling people, training. I never asked anybody, even because the airmen sometimes taught me things, but after I got out, I never asked anybody to do anything that I wasn't willing to do.
Right.
And so that was a great teacher. I mean, that you can teach people a lot of things when you're willing to do all the jobs.
Oh yeah, I found that out.
Yeah. So, but I was trying to think of some of the fun things that we did during our internship, and we had great fun in Washington D.C. And but I remember some of my classmates at Mankato they thought I was crazy. They really did. They think they thought I was, what are you doing? You know? And I said, well, my mom was in the military, and they didn't really understand all that. And it just gave me a different outlook
Right.
on at least trying to do it. And then it was an honor to be accepted,
Right. Oh
you
yeah.
know, to
One
be
of 10.
one of 10.
Yeah. It's a
So,
big privilege when you
yeah,
competing against the whole United States.
yep, yep. So
And the
it
Air
was,
Force isn't a small branch of the military either.
no, and I don't know, I don't think the internship is there anymore because it's a training hospital puts forth a lot of money. I mean, a lot of time and money to do those training programs. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still in place.
It's probably an MOS now.
Right. Right.
You go
Or
to
you can
school
come in as a dietitian, as a civilian dietitian, and then
and get
get
your commission and everything, and
right. Right.
just
That's
learn the military way then.
right. Then you just learn the system
Yeah.
that you're working in. So, and I should really know more about that, but I don't. I mean, it's been 50 years. So,
And it's only been 7 for me, and I don't keep up with the stuff that I put that behind me when I retired. It's,
right.
people still reach out to me. Maybe you know this, maybe you know that, and it's like
Uh-huh.
maybe I'll take a shot at it, but I'm not going to guarantee
Right,
anything.
right. And nutrition as a science has changed
Oh,
so much
yeah, it's crazy.
from what we learned. For example, we had at that time, if you had a heart patient, they could only have 2 eggs a week. So you had to teach them their diet on how to, if you have an egg in, pancakes or in other food, you have to count that one, And now it's not restricted like that at
Right,
all.
because they figured out that eggs aren't that bad for
Right.
you.
I mean, it would, yeah. So, in like coffee, that was always another thing that changed over the years. I mean, so many food items, they were either good for you back then or bad for you back then, and now they're good,
Well, I remember back in the day, if you're going to go in and have surgery, the only thing you'd have is water.
Right.
Well, now you go in for surgery, it's like coffee black or water or Gatorade. It's just
Or
got to,
clear liquids.
or yeah,
Clear
clear
liquids. Yeah.
liquids. Yeah.
Yeah. That's still probably the same. But,
But I mean, it used to be strictly just water, nothing else, and now
right.
it's clear liquids, coffee, black coffee, no cream or anything. But
Because I was in after Vietnam.
yep.
So one of the programs that existed back then, which seemed totally cuckoo to me, but it was a program, is that if they felt if they had somebody that was overweight, then I got to see them. And because it was a way, if some people didn't lose weight, that was a way for them to ease them out
Oh
of the
yeah.
system.
Right.
So I dealt a lot with those airmen, um, try to help them lose weight. And sometimes for some of them, it was just a matter of quit drinking beer for a while.
Right. Right.
There were some pretty easy solutions to some of that. But then I had one day a gal walked into my office who needed to gain weight, and so that was tricky.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if she actually was successful at gaining weight because that was very difficult. You can't just you know it was an unusual problem for me, who always had an issue with weight. It was never, I didn't have to worry about not gaining weight. And we had to maintain a certain weight
Yep.
as dietitians. We had to maintain a certain weight, or we could have been thrown out. So we were all pretty, in tune to that, and careful
You're right.
about, because she just wanted us to be a good example. She
Yeah.
didn't want a 200-pound dietitian telling you
You got to lose weight.
you got to lose weight.
Giving you ideas on how to lose weight, and you're sitting there looking at me and going,
Yeah, right.
I'm overweight,
Exactly.
so but I don't have to listen to my own.
I don't listen to my own advice.
Right.
Yep. And so, but yeah, but then, so my Air Force experience was great. I have no regrets about my Air Force experience. But what it's happened now is I've gotten to this age when I joined the Post. Um, so the Post has actually had probably as much influence on the way I do things as my military experience, because um, I remember coming in here, and one day Hayden was on the corner over there, and he goes, "Anita, I want you to do the speech for Veterans Day." And I go, "What?" I had taken speech in college, but only because I had to.
Right.
And I go, I was terrified. Seriously, I was terrified. And so I went to Charlie and we talked, and he goes, "Well, this is what you do. You go on, and you know, I'll give you some websites, and you can go on and look up different speeches and stuff like that. Find a speech that you like and is around the reason that you want." I wanted a speech to be about service. So I went on some different websites and read a bunch of speeches, and I picked this one written by she was a naval, I think she was, I don't know if she was a commander, but anyway, she was higher up and I think she worked now as a civilian for management company or something like that. But anyway, so I picked this speech, and it was pretty point on for what I wanted to say, being scared to death,
Right.
you know. And so we modified it. Charlie helped me modify it a little bit, and I read it, and I read it, and we practiced, and I practiced, and I practiced. So, um, so at 70 years old, I did my first really public speech.
Wow.
So we can learn new tricks.
Right. I did my
And
very first public speech, I think, one Veterans Day at a high school in Pine Island,
yep,
in front of the whole school.
yep,
They had me come up for Veterans Day.
yep.
Scary.
It's a scary thing.
I don't like public speaking either.
Public speaking is probably it's more scary than anything for people.
Mm-hmm.
But so now I don't have a problem with it. And it was interesting because I was 3 days before, and I'm just sweating bullets, going, how am I going to do this? And my guardian angel said to me, "Anita, it's just like calling bingo." Seriously.
Yeah, makes
Seriously.
sense.
And after that, I just relaxed, and I just pretended I was sitting there calling, talking into the microphone, calling bingo.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't have a problem with that. And then they asked me to run as commander, and they kind of like they did to you. So I was second vice. Oh, you just take the position, and it's no problem. You just sit there, and you come to the meetings and learn about this or learn about things. And so, oh, okay. And so I got sworn in to be the second vice. And so the first vice, so it came time for elections, and the young man that was the first vice declined. So guess what?
You got
Tag,
picked.
you're it.
Tag, you're it. Yep. Sounds familiar.
So then I became the commander, and I just realized when I was looking at the board that it was in 2021 during COVID, and yeah, I thought had been the commander for 3 years, and here I've been the commander for 5 years. And it's been great. It really has been. I can't complain, and I have never been frightened again. Like giving the speech, I got over that, and so I can just about do whatever anybody asks me.
Anybody can do what they set their mind to. Anyway.
Right. So I've learned a lot, and I guess I look back and I said, how can you be a commander for 1 year, because you can't learn all of that
Right.
in 1 year, all the stuff you need to know. And I remember one of the post members came up to me and said, um, how come nobody's putting the deceased members' names in the newspaper, in the Legion paper? I go, I don't know. I'll look into it. So then I talked to a couple people, and well, I actually looked at the newspaper then, and contacted the person that was the contact person, and he showed me how to do it. And when I started entering the names of the deceased members of our posts in there, the person who had originally talked with me was so grateful, thanked me probably 3 times
Yeah.
for doing that. And so now I've been consistently, putting members' names in there. And
Are you talking a Legion paper?
the state Legion
Yep.
paper, and it's called TAPS. And,
Yep.
I mean, if you look at it now, you understand why our posts are shrinking, because there's so many names in there.
Yeah.
With a lot of people with storied histories, I mean, they have done a lot of different stuff.
Yep.
Pretty, and they people want to see that because they may have known them through a different association.
Right.
Um, maybe through the riders, or maybe through district, the third district, or someplace like that. So that person really appreciated me starting that up again, because somebody had dropped the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, but like I said, if you do it 1 year, you don't know all that stuff.
Right.
And I think that's why it's important to have that job more than 1 year.
I can understand that.
Gives you a fair chance to. And then you meet more people. You meet people from the third district, and you meet people from the state, and you can decide if you want to get more involved or less involved. But this is a funny thing. My mom was a member of the Legion, and there were only like 3 women back then that were in the actually in the Legion.
Yep.
And she experienced what I experienced. People assume that I'm in the auxiliary.
Right.
But she never invited me to join.
That's weird.
I know. I think about that. Why didn't she ever invite me to join?
I've talked to both of my boys about it. So they're both in the military, and I've talked to them both. And I talked to a female friend of mine that I met when I was in Kuwait. I told her now that she's come back this time that she needs to join the Legion, and she said she's going to in her hometown. And I'm just trying to get some of these. I said you got to get younger people involved.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's not going to be there.
Right.
And this is such a great place to come and share stories, and especially like her now after being in Syria after the Iranian stuff, she's going to need people to talk to that have experienced similar stuff. And they said this is one of the best places outside of a therapist to come and talk to people that have experienced the same thing.
See, that's what my experience was. So even you couldn't, as a dietitian, you couldn't go overseas unless you were a captain or above.
Okay.
There were no overseas assignments. In fact, there were only probably 8 assignments that you could go to overseas. One in Germany and
Italy, probably. Japan.
Japan.
Korea, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if Korea was one of them.
I think they just opened up Korea to women outside of nurses.
Okay. So anyway, unless you were a captain or above, there were few opportunities to go overseas, other than if you went on a hop. And I did that, in fact, a couple times.
It's one of the nice perks, right?
It was a nice perk. It was a nice perk. I went to Fairbanks, Alaska for 3 days.
Oh, wow.
And I happened to have a college girlfriend who was living and working in Fairbanks. So how weird was that?
Yeah.
So I went up and spent 3 days with her in January.
That's not a good time to go to Fairbanks.
It was wonderful. I left North Carolina. It was 28 degrees. and it was in this January. I got to Fairbanks, Alaska, and it was 28 degrees.
Oh wow.
So I was able to walk around the city. It was black. It was dark.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that was a real difference. It was dark, and so my friend at the time she was doing some nursing, but she had worked for the Alaskan pipeline.
Oh.
That what took her up there. So then she was nursing at the time when I got up there to see her. So the hop thing was really a perk, a nice perk.
Yep.
If you knew who to contact and take advantage of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So outside of the military, what else besides Green Giant have you done?
Oh, then I worked for Pillsbury and General Mills. So Green Giant got bought out by Pillsbury. So then I worked in a capacity in Pillsbury, and then Pillsbury got bought out by General Mills. I mean, they just kind of ate each other up in the food industry. And my last job was in quality assurance at General Mills in Eden Prairie.
So you retired out of that then?
Well, we did, but it was a time when people were downsizing.
Oh.
They were downsizing, and General Mills was trying to save some money, so they shipped that 300 jobs to Canada.
Oh.
And we were like one of the first groups of people that were hit by that. Outsourcing. That's what it was. And they thought that they could, at this plant in Canada, they could do the same process that we were making croissants. And we had the contract with Costco. And I don't know if you've ever gone to Costco, but the big croissants were all made at General Mills at one time.
Oh, wow. Did not know that.
Yeah.
But no, I've never been
And
to a
then
Costco.
they lost that contract. Or no, they sent that job to Canada, and after a few years, they lost the contract because they couldn't reproduce the same product in a different situation. So that was kind of a bad mistake on their part.
Yeah.
But then after that, I took care of my 2 grandkids when they were newborns, and then I moved back here. Then I was pretty much retired, but now I'm probably as busy as I've ever been. I mean, with being the commander, and then I clean for some people that allows them to stay in their home, take care of things that they can't do. Mm-hmm. And so I'm busy 4 days a week.
It's always nice to be busy.
Yeah. And I've used a lot of my skills that I learned over the years.
Yeah.
You know. So, but I was digging through some stuff yesterday, and I found this picture of my mom. And after I saw that on PBS, they were honoring Nurse McKay. Her last name was McKay out of Brainerd, and it was very moving story about her, and that she had joined the military as a nurse, and she ended up in the Philippines.
Yeah.
During Bataan
and Corregidor.
Yeah, and went to Corregidor, and then a couple other places, and she was actually physically decimated when they sent her back to the States. I mean, it was quite a story.
She wasn't captured?
I don't think she was captured, but lived. There was a time when the nurses, they had to escape. I mean, they had to run, and they had to hide, and they lived on very little food. I mean, it was a really interesting story. So I wonder if they're going to have her story at the new museum up by Fort Ripley.
Oh, yeah, I heard they're building a museum up there.
Yep.
That'd be interesting to go see.
It should be. It's close to finish. I think it's supposed to open in the summer.
I have
So
to go up there and scope it out.
yeah, yeah.
You don't remember the name of the show, so I can see if I can try to find it. The one that you were just talking
Oh, it
about.
was on PBS. No,
I
no.
can do a search, I'm
It was a
sure.
Twin Cities PBS station.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was very interesting, and that made me think about my mom again.
Yep.
And so then I was digging through some of her stuff.
It's pretty cool. You got that picture.
I know. This was my mom. She's right in the middle.
Oh wow.
Right, but isn't this interesting?
She listed all the names, and everybody signed it.
Everybody signed it.
Wow.
So okay, so I mentioned my friend Steve before, and he and his wife flew up from Sacramento a couple years ago, and I met him at the Twin Stadium. And we were talking, Steve and I were talking, and his wife Patty, her mother had been in the waves
Oh.
at the same time my mom was in the wave. That was pretty interesting to me. Like, what are the chances?
Right.
And so I immediately turned back here to see if Annette was in this group.
Wouldn't that have been crazy if she would have been?
If that would have been really crazy, if she would have been in this group of waves.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went out to see Steve last winter in January to visit with him because his wife is deceased now. His wife Patty is deceased. So we went out and visited, and I went with him to the dog park. And he had this other friend that they meet at the dog park and they visit. And so he introduced me to his friend, and we were talking, and he said his mother-in-law had been in the waves at the same time.
Oh wow. That's just crazy.
That was absolutely crazy.
Small world.
I know. and so we talked, that was like, okay, how can this be? I'm meeting two people from California whose family was in the Navy at the same time, when there were a very small percentage of women
Yep.
in the military.
Right.
So, but and my son gave me a book at Christmas called Spitfires, and it's about the women that flew
the Spitfire airplane for the British Air Force.
Yep, or they flew the airplanes off the assembly line over to
wherever they had to go,
like
they did back here in the States. They had the women that flew them across. Once they got built, they flew them to where they're needed.
Yep.
Depending on which coast needed it.
So I'm reading that book. I have a fascination with that. Only because when I was a little girl, I thought I wanted to be Amelia Earhart.
Well, we all know what happened to her.
Yeah, I know. I just thought that would be so cool to be. And you know what? If I'd have been as confident as I am now, I might have pursued it. But then back then, I wasn't confident about anything. Like, I was like, I don't, how would I find at 13 or 12 or 13 years old, how would I find out about how to go about learning to fly? My parents weren't interested in that kind of stuff, and there wasn't a lot of money to do that kind of thing. So, if it would have been a different time, maybe I would have gone forward and, actually tried to learn how to fly.
Yeah, that'd have been pretty cool.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been really cool.
Yeah, that would have been a heck of a way back then to see the States too.
Yeah, so I've read a lot of stories about the women that have flown. Yeah, and they flew rickety.
Right.
Rickety stuff. Sometimes with fabric wings and.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's been, my military experience was great. So I would encourage. Well, one of my friends, her granddaughter, started her training to be a Black Hawk helicopter pilot.
Oh, nice.
Down in Alabama.
Fort Rucker, Alabama.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. I didn't learn how to be a helicopter pilot, but I've been to Fort Rucker.
Okay. Yep. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's very amazing. I mean, the Blackhawks are They're very difficult to learn how to fly.
Yeah.
I mean, any helicopter is
Right, I'm
difficult to
sure.
learn because
Oh, I know.
you got one handle on this and one hand on this, and you got to look at all this.
Yeah.
The Apaches are a pain in the butt because you got to wear that helmet with the stupid optic so you got to read information in one eye and look past it with the other
Oh,
eye.
really?
And
Need 3 eyes then?
basically, yeah. But that is pretty impressive, though.
Yeah. So a lot of women right now are, they're achieving a lot more in the middle, and that's what when they were honoring that nurse McKay.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the current women that were one was a 2-star, and some of them were like majors or whatever, saying that because of women like her, they've been able to accomplish
Well,
things beyond what anybody would have
expected,
thought.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, you can say the same thing for the African American people too. They never thought that they were going to amount to anything either.
Right.
But it's awesome how things have finally grown up. The military in general has finally grown up and realized that it's not just
right. Well, I just remember the military. Well, even in North Carolina where I was, the military gave a lot of people opportunities to get out of poverty, get their families, have families, earn a living, have medical care, and then if they chose to advance, they had the opportunity to do that.
right.
And so I I just appreciated. I mean, I had every opportunity to stay in and become a colonel if I'd wanted to, but I didn't
Right.
have the desire,
Right. That's part of it too.
Yes. Yeah. So, but I was surrounded by people who were, ambitious,
Yeah.
and they did well. They did well. So,
Very cool. Very cool.
yeah. So, how much time do we have?
Whatever you want. We got as much time as you want or as little time as you want.
Okay.
If you have nothing else to talk about, we can shut it down. If you
Yeah. I can't think of really any other thing other. I mean, I could go into a lot of adventures that we had, but
if you want to tell one, you can.
yeah. What I did, so in the hop thing when I was in North Carolina, and I went on the hop to Alaska, but I got to know the flight surgeon, and he had to go on a lot of training missions.
Mhm.
He had to be on a certain amount of flights. So he came down to the dining hall one day and he goes, "You want to go to Bermuda?" And I go, "What?" He goes, "Do you want to go to Bermuda?" And I go, "Sure. Tell me how to do it, He said, "Well," he said, "just you have to I had to have some different pieces to my uniform. Then I just wore whites, in the hospital. So I had to get different uniform pieces." And he goes, "And we'll meet here at the hospital." And he drove us down to the flight line, and we got on, and the pilots let me sit up front or
nice.
in the middle.
In the jump seat?
Yeah, like in the middle, and it was pretty awesome just to go. And we just flew out over Bermuda and turned around and came back. It was just the part of the morning.
It was just a training mission,
Yeah,
basically.
it was a training mission.
Okay.
But on that flight to Alaska, that was also a training mission. It was called Operation Jack Frost. And so on the way up, I could interact with the people that were on board. But on the way back, I had to go to the back room, and I couldn't I had to get out of the way.
Mm.
So, but it was fun. And he engineered that for me too, to get on that hop.
Nice.
To go to Fairbanks.
It's always been interesting flying on military planes. I've been on a C-130, a C-141, a C-17, and a C-5.
Okay.
It was all, obviously different types of aircraft. The 130 is a small one.
Right.
The 141 they don't have anymore.
Okay.
That was like the C-17 took over for that.
Okay.
And then the C-5 is the big one where the nose opens up and the back end opens up.
Oh, I've seen them.
It's just
and
monsters.
You drive things.
You can drive tanks. It can carry 2 tanks at one time.
Really?
Yeah. It's just, but you got to walk up 3 flights of steps to get to the area where passengers sit, and they carries like 80 people in there.
Okay.
But the rest of it is just for cargo, and it's just massive. I mean, you just walk in and it's just huge.
Right.
I mean, they can fold up helicopter blades, and they can put Blackhawks in there and Apaches in there, and
Really?
yeah, just anything, just about anything you want that the military besides the Navy has, you can put into a C5 and they can take off with it. It's just crazy.
So we were at I've been to the Air Force Museum in Ohio.
Yep.
Dayton.
Wright
Wright
Patterson. Wright Patterson. There
Wright
you
Patterson.
go.
Yeah.
My boss said my old
don't
boss said the
remember
museum's closed now.
No, Jim Zelli was just there.
Yeah. Well, my boss might be wrong then. He said it was closed, but
They just added a bunch of new exhibits.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But I don't remember. I don't remember seeing that C5.
Well, they probably haven't put any on display yet because there's so
They're
few of them.
still in use.
Yeah, and there's so few of them. Just like the 130s are still being used, but they've been around forever. Just like
Right.
the B-52s
Sure.
and the C5s have been around for a long time too. But
Right.
there's just very few C5s.
Okay, so they probably want to put them on display.
Not until they're officially retired, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
That's a very interesting place. Have you been?
No, I haven't. I want to go there. I'd like to go there.
Yeah.
So that's probably an agenda trip to.
Well, and you could do it. I don't know. We did it in In fact, we went to the museum 2 days.
Yeah.
In order to see all the stuff.
Right. I mean, it takes a day to get there.
And we went during COVID, so
there was nobody there.
There was very few people there.
Right.
Very few people traveling even, so that made it even better.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I just want to thank you for letting me talk with you.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. You've been our first female veteran, and it's been awesome listening to your story. And
there,
and just need to find some more.
Get a little poke in for on April 25th. April 25th, right? It's a Saturday. The Post 45 over in New Prague is having a luncheon, and they have 3 nurses from Nam. It's called Nurses from Nam, and they're going to speak. And so I'm excited to go see them, because for anybody who reads Kristen Hanna, she wrote a book called The Women, about the nurses in Vietnam. And in the story, in the nurses, in the women, they say that people didn't believe that women were in Vietnam.
No, that's just dumb.
Yeah.
And I think nurses got more traumatized than some of the men did over there with the stuff they had to endure.
If you read that book, have you read it? Oh, that book it's like you're there.
Yeah.
It's like you're there. Like,
it sounds like a book I need to get.
You can feel the jungle. You can feel the humidity. You can feel everything but the smell.
Yeah.
And they talk about what things smell like. I mean, the mud and and like, I don't know that they ever got dry.
Probably not from but the humidity and the rain all the time.
Right.
I mean, they do have dry seasons over there, but depending on where you're at, it doesn't really ever get dry.
Yeah. But I mean, the relationships, the trauma, I mean, Kristen Hanna made it real. And that's why it'd be an honor to meet these ladies who actually served there. And one of our dietitian teachers, she served as a dietitian in one of the big hospitals. Da Nang would have been the hospital.
That was an air base there, and a port, I think.
Yeah, but I think she served in the hospital, but she was not out in these little little hospitals,
right.
Like
the little field hospitals.
The field hospitals, yeah. That these nurses were in. But her name was Captain Jeannie Moran, and she didn't really talk about it though.
A lot of people don't.
Yeah.
To hear, like my buddy, I'm surprised after his ordeal in Kuwait how open he was. So
right.
I mean, but some people My grandfather, he did not speak at all about Guadalcanal.
Uh-huh.
And that was World War II, and he would not speak about it. So I think
Right.
it just affects different people differently, and some people just they're
How
better
they
off
deal
not
with
talking
it.
about it. They deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah. But
And they're
anyway,
probably only comfortable talking to people that have been there, done that.
I'm looking forward to meeting these ladies and being there with a group of women from Post 108, and it gave me an opportunity to finally connect with the women in Post 108.
Mm.
There's like 14 women who have been on active duty in the post. So that's grown. I mean, obviously grown since my mom was in the post,
Yeah.
as when there were 2 or 3 women.
Right.
So, but I'd like to get them all together and just have them talk with each other.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be real cool. It'd be really interesting to hear some of the stories.
And I could do that even after I'm not the commander. I could still get them together.
Oh yeah, of course.
So I think that might be something that I'll keep doing. And then keep on with the other project that I started as commander is I asked post members or auxiliary members if they had any family members who were on active duty.
Mm-hmm.
And I started that program, and I started out with 5 young people that I wrote letters to at Christmas. It started out at Christmas, and sent them some sort of something from the post. And then I added July, so I write letters twice a year to these young people, and now I had up to 18, and then two people separated, so I think I'm at 16. And they really appreciate that.
Oh yeah.
And they're interesting people too. They're very interesting people.
You don't get letters anymore. It's always emails and phone calls and text messages and stuff. You don't get handwritten letters anymore.
And they do like it.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
They really.
I love getting letters. When I was in
Yeah.
Iraq and Afghanistan, that was awesome. My kids would write letters to me all the time.
Yeah.
I'd always write letters and draw pictures for my daughter because she thought I could draw.
I think it's nicer getting the letters than the emails because you have something tangible.
Yeah. Right, to hang on to. Yeah. To hang
Just
on
like
to.
that Michael Martin or John Michael Montgomery, the letter.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. So I do, and I've gotten responses from many of them. Thanking me just for whatever I sent. I mean, one summer I sent them a bag of Twins peanuts and a can of Harmon Killebrew root beer. And then I learned how expensive it was to send that cheap stuff. It costs way more to send it than it was, and then to wrap it or ship it properly so the pop wouldn't explode. And
yeah.
Nobody ever said anything that their pop was exploded or anything. But I just thought from Minnesota, that was a pretty appropriate gift. But yeah, it did cost a lot to ship. So July's coming up, and last Christmas I sent them our ornament from that. Can I go get it?
Yeah. Got one at my house.
Yep. I had Jody from the Younger Gunworks design it for us for the 250th anniversary and put American Legion Post 108 on the bottom, and I sent it to them, and that was the reason I did it. And then I thought, okay, so then I thought, well, maybe some other people would want it, so it's available for sale at the post right now, and I've given them for gifts to. So I'm going to take 3 of them along and give it to the nurses. Yeah, I'm going to take 3 along, and I gave 3 to the St. Patrick's Day candidates. I just thought that'd be a little memento for them.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to take them along if I remember. Okay. And take them along for the nurses. So just really cool. memento.
Yeah.
So
Very
and
nice.
unique to the Legion here.
Yeah.
So and I didn't buy too many, so I have a lot of leftover ones. And she'll make 10 at a time if I need 10 more. So we're gonna try to get them on our Facebook page and our Facebook page for our 250th anniversary celebration that we're planning.
Yep.
On the 25th of July.
Very cool.
So, yeah, it's been good. Like I said, I'm a little bolder than I used to be. I guess I like the term old and bold. Okay. Okay. So I like that and hope I can continue to be old and bold.
Well, there you go. Let's hope you do too. All
right.
Well, thank you very much, Anita. It was a
You're
pleasure
welcome.
talking to you. And we'll close that episode out for the night. Thank you very
All
much.
right. Thank you.